So we took a lot of interesting diversions along the way, but we were trying to discuss the Great Oxygenation Event. So what was it? What happened?
So if you take a time machine, so we think about going to Mars, we think about going to the moon. We need a special suit, and even if you just go to the bottom of the ocean, you need an oxygen mask because you know that you can't breathe that one. There are environments in Mars and other places where the oxygen is very low. But imagine like if you take a time machine and just go back in time, like say 3 billion years ago, you can't really breathe because the oxygen back then was very low. There were not so much of free oxygen around. So it was there for a very long time, just like that. The environment was stale and not too much oxygen. At one point, there was a bacteria called cyanobacteria that evolved um, a trait where it can actually manufacture its own food. So when it did, oxygen was a byproduct. So basically, now we actually inhale oxygen, we exhale carbon dioxide. Imagine like billions and billions of cyanobacteria doing the same thing. And what happened is like at one point it started depositing so much of oxygen. The oxygen content in the atmosphere went up. At one point, animals, I mean, like when I say animals, like microorganisms were not suited for oxygen rich environment. So it created an environment which was dangerous for other animals. So there was an extinction even that happened. So oxygen at one point was poisonous. Even now, like you can't really take in pure oxygen. You have to mix it with other gases. So animals started dying. But at one point, what's really strange happened is that's the time when there is not too much of plants and trees on the ground, on the land. So the thing is like the erosion was high. So when it rains on the land, there is no trees to hold back all the sediments. So sediments actually flow and gets deposited in the oceans. So what happens? There's a lot of iron, ferrous. So this oxygen, the bacteria produced, went and reacted with that iron, and it started oxidation. Like there's a process of oxidation. Yeah. So it's normally when you call rusting. So you just take a piece of iron, like dip it in water, just keep it outside. It's going to rust. It's going to turn into red. So what happened is like this oxidized iron started setting down to the bottom of the ocean floor, and it kept adding again and again and again. That's something that we call it as a banded iron formation. So banded iron formation is not a direct fossil like these ones. So this is like a fish that died 125 million years ago, went down to the bottom of the river, quickly get buried by the sediment, and ended up as a fossil. That is more like a trace fossil. So that is a bunch of iron molecules, oxidized iron molecules, deposited down in one thick layer. But that was done by bacteria producing oxygen. So that I mean, the Great Oxygenation Event, we call it GOE. It happened several times. So the first time it happened, it was because of bacteria. The second, third time it happened, that was because of volcanic eruptions that started releasing a lot of underwater volcanic eruptions. So the first time it happened, it was organic. It was because of animals. So it's kind of a weird thing that like animals producing something which was dangerous for the same animals. So we survived and we moved on, like went into multicellular life.